Greetings. This is not a guitar. This is Pebbles. This is a foster kitten. The Kitten Rescue of Mason County is the home here, but this is where we're doing their fosterings. And in a minute or two, I'll actually go ahead and pick up one of the guitars behind me. And I wasn't able to get my second camera set up, but I was going to do that. Second camera. Let's take a look at this baby who keeps looking at me and saying hello. Very sharp claws on this little baby. Look, take a look. Little baby. Just a little baby.
You're gonna have to go get some new black pants.
I am? What happened to him? Oh, thanks, hon. Well, shop pants they are then. That's fine. Oh, yeah, that's a. Well, yep, shop pants. That's fine. So yes, barring that minor intervention and this small interruption, we're taking care of this little baby. Mostly my wife, but I am here to tend to this little lamb while she has to go and do something else before she feeds him. That's probably good. Pardon me, y'all. Where'd you go? Did you get any on your hands?
I did. I think I got some.
Oh, you're going to have to be careful. Especially that baby. The world has seen that baby.
Oh, I got one.
Yeah, the world. Alright, I'm going to pick up a guitar now and see what I can do about getting rid of that. There we go. And that's all just right yonder. Alright, well, I'm back. You know if you can hear me all right out there. So I'm running a setup today. What you're hearing right now is the dulcet sounds of a full drive 3 from Fulltone. And me screwing up a lot. Several settings on that thing, one of which is called 90s, and that's what we're running through now. It's one of my favorite overdrives of all time. I'm going to have to turn that up. So yes, heralding the big news, right? 700. I'm shocked and in complete awe. I had no idea that was coming. Anybody who has ever talked to me personally knows that I really never even expected to get 100 subscribers. So 7 freaking blows my mind, dude. So at any rate, going on with that, I appreciate it like you can't believe, and maybe you can believe it, but I have no idea why anybody would want to watch my snarky ass fiddle around on a get fiddle. At the same time, who would want to listen to me rant and rave, Stu? At any rate, let's talk about news of the world and the finger. The finger in question here is the one that has been numb now for a month, and today is no exception. I, as you may have noticed, am trying to play on top of myself because I'm really not sure exactly where it is. So I'm still in the process of kind of relearning how to play with this injury. This morning, I woke up, went over to the corner because I have a guitar in pretty much every room in my house. I went over to the corner of the room, picked up a guitar, put it on. It's about up to here, and I start noodling around. And you know what? Felt pretty good. And as soon as I switched up to here, I felt a pop under here, and that pop said, numb again. Everything was back to the way it's been for quite a bit. So there's nothing I can do about it. I absolutely hate it. And, yeah, that's that. So, playing at a lower volume today. My apologies. Wife has a bit of a headache. Bit of a migraine, really. So I want to be nice, not slaughter her. You know what I mean? Hey, Mike. Yeah, it could be trigger finger. If trigger finger is caused by a little snapping thing up here in your tricep, it may as well be. Chiropractor thinks that it's 3 vertebrae in the back of the neck, and I kind of agree with him because that's where it all starts. From here, your radial nerve. If you want to know a lot about physiology, get injured. Because if you're anything like me, that's the very first thing you do is you start pouring through all the medical textbooks that you can get your hands on, internet-wise or not. So you have your radial nerve travels from here, here, here. That's where all the feels come from, right? Yeah. Right around through here, back up the arm, so it's kind of up and around under here. And then in the back, so imagine this is on my back now, up and then traveling through. Well, there's another spot to it that also comes out of the chest that goes around. So those 3 kind of combine. And, yeah. So it's probably a radial nerve injury from me being stupid and sleeping wrong. But, hey, I really try not to sleep wrong when I sleep wrong. And, of course, you can't help it. How do you sleep? How do you know when you're sleeping wrong to correct it, right? So, I don't know. I'm just going to blame it on being 50. But, maybe too much melatonin. I don't have anything else to blame it on. So this is like super smooth sounds, right? Full drive 3. Lovely, lovely stuff. It has a secret. It's not a secret if you know what it is. It's got a boost. So that's overdrive, right? And the overdrive isn't even all the way up. It's like 2 o'clock. Hit the boost, which is also at 2 o'clock, and you get a little more. Couldn't possibly recommend one more. They are delightful. Well, we have other things, though. So we're also playing today through an Amun Pak verb because I decided to get smart. And what did I do getting smart? I got myself a pedal board separation. So pedal board divorce took place. I have a living room amp set up, and then I've kind of been messing around with the computer room amp setup, which is usually just like a little amp, which is what I'm playing through. I am playing through a little amp right now. I'm not playing right now, but you get the idea. So I play little amp, single, 112 speaker. There's a 212 in the living room. My wife must love me, otherwise I'm sure I'd be kicked out by now. So there's a 212 in the living room, like I said before, with a EVH 5150 and a big old pedal board. Used to have like 15 pedals on it. A bunch of them getting swapped out here and there. I've got too many. But I thought, since I'm playing more and more in here and like, doing the live thing, miking the cabinet, all that kind of stuff, maybe I should go ahead and have a pedal board in here and take away some of the ones that are in there, and also take some of the ones that I haven't been using because I've got other ones that I like because I keep getting more stuff. It's addictive, man. I'm telling you. There's one thing that'll really get you going is like new pedals, guitar or gear acquisition syndrome. That's like a rule of, I don't know, man. It's a law that's thicker than gravity. So, so the one I got recently is called a Cash Cow, and it's an older pedal, but it's a good one. Apparently, it came out around 2010, and it's made by Dan Electro, and it sounds a bit like this. Are you hearing that? Yeah, that's coming through. So, it's got a little hair to it. Now, I have everything here kind of turned to where it's controllable. None of the gains are ripped all the way up. The volumes aren't jacked or anything like that. I can push that much harder, turning it up. But again, want to protect the wife who just came back inside. So there's a little bit more of like a 5150 kick on that one. There's more hair. It's not the super smooth, Satriani meets Eric Johnson overdrive of the full drive, that's for sure. Between the two, you get a lot of character. And of course, that comes in very handy. So what are we playing through today? Well, we're going through the little Joyo Zombie in clean. The Amun Pak verb is for anybody who's taking notes at home. It is set to the Kirk needs reading glasses setting. It is set to the what is that? Church and tape echo. So, and it's not too much. I'm not trying to overpower. Just a nice little bit of a ambience. So here's a fun one. So for anybody playing along at home, wanted to grab the guitar and maybe go through. I am tuned to D today for a couple of reasons. One, these are still 9.5s. I'm not just going to go out and buy a whole bunch of 8s and restring all my guitars. This one's already tuned to D, and that makes it a little easier to play for a guy with a finger like mine right now. So, easier to play, not exactly, because, if you're still doing, like, acrobatics, crap, techniques are techniques. It's going to be hard. It's harder on my picking hand to use lighter or lower tune strings, lighter gauge or lower tune, just because I like to play. I'm kind of a bruiser with my picking hand. I want to really dig in and get the meat on. But, you can only do what you can do, right? So I can only do so much. Anyway, if you're playing along at home, this is a neat little pedal point exercise. We went over something like this before. So for you guys, 5, 8, 7 will become 3, right? 3, 6, 5. So for me, so the reason why we're doing it this way is because if you're tuned normally, that will make the same sound as this. For all the newer folks out there, for the folks that have been out here for a while, me saying I tuned to D, that's going to cover that. This, there's a lot of stuff we can do with this. I like moving it up. Sure, we could. And we've covered stuff like that in the past. Going on and on and on. My idea, though, for this is to incorporate a little stretchy exercise in there, much like we were doing the other week with the 3-note per string, three-fingered deal. In this case, and I'm just going up to the next two groups of notes, or two notes. And it's really nice. It sounds like it's going somewhere, because it is. And there are several times where, you know, you're going to that place, wherever it is that you decide to stop, and go ahead and make it, you know, make it your bitch. Make it stop wherever you want. So, and try to mute the low E string while you're doing it. Fun. Relatively easy to do. It's not so much of a picking exercise. You're just basically, you know, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, you know, with your right hand. Again and again and again and again. And it's the left hand that's going to be working a little bit, especially if you're injured. But if you're not, that's fine too. You know, good enough. You can stop it there if you want to. You can make it more difficult if that's not a challenge enough for you by instead of hitting, you know, every other note there, and transfer it down a fourth. So sounds pretty good as it is. In that case, though, I really kind of want to move up one, right? That's what it sounds like to me. And this sounds like it should be in A minor. So, that. Meh. And that would just be like... And that's a failing on my part for not practicing this first. But this, so... Twice. Or move it up, which sounds even better because we're playing it before in a, what is that, E minor, so essentially. Yeah. Ah. Hard to do. You get the idea. So if you wanted to make it difficult for yourself, you can. You know, and please play it better than I do. So it's just a matter of time, you know, and practice. This whole thing, you know, it's as old as what's a good one? Methuselah. I think it's an ancient, you know, type of thing. People have been playing it as long as Bach, you know. You know, type of thing. It's an old one, but you know what? It's pretty effective in getting you moving. So if you wanted to play something else like that, so instead of playing it, you could go, which is really, or wait a minute, it sounds amateur in comparison. Yeah. You know, much nicer, but this is essentially the same thing but backwards. So we could do that, which we definitely covered the other week, which would be hard to do picking wise. But in this case, I think, you know, it would be a much more bold statement. fun. Well, I'm going to move back from the cash cow. Oh, no, I'm not. I'm going to hit a boost on top of it. Hold on. There it is. I am a professional. And if you're wondering, by the way, yes, that is the world's ugliest Vox wah. I am a wah junkie. I don't play it as much as I used to, but I still am a wah kind of junkie. I've got a full tone out in the living room, and I love the living crap out of it. I do recommend it to anybody who's wanting to get themselves into the wah scene. That is, I wouldn't say it's a beginner wah, but it's a really, really, really effective one. It's just about the wah-iest wah-wah you ever heard. This one is the wah of, it's the sound that you hear, when you think of wah. There we go. Did not tape that down. But I'm considering names for this. The smorgasbord. It is just a slab of wood. It is a lovely slab of redwood, in fact. I got it at an auction a long time ago, and I was thinking I could never use that for anything. I wanted the wood that it came with so I could make a guitar body out of it, and I did that, but I've never used it. This, on the other hand, I'm like, make a shelf out of it maybe one day. Well, today was the day, splitting the pedal boards up, and that thing said to me, I can do something with that. Just chopped it up a bit, put it through the planer a whole bunch of times, breathed in a whole bunch of dust I probably shouldn't have breathed in. I don't know what redwood dust will do to you, but I'm sure it ain't good. Going on with the story. It just happened to lay out perfectly with a whole bunch of pedals, and I kept it pretty modular. There's some stuff I don't want to move. I probably should go ahead and, make the Vox stay put. But aside from that, it's a 2-inch thick slab that looks like a steak ought to be served on it. It's pretty neat. So the smorgasbord, maybe, or if I could go on with thinking of names for it that I was thinking about earlier on, it's it's the pedal slab or the slabbleboard. So I like the slabbleboard. Let's see. What did I put on the looper? Something to play along with. Whatever that was, playing terribly. So these are fun. to shake it. Vibrato is very important. Yeah. So that's what we get with playing with a looper. Do a quick volume check on this. Should have done this earlier. You know, like in the test stream. Oh yeah, that's plenty loud. In fact, I could probably turn that down a little. Not bad. Just a hair. So how's everybody doing tonight? All two of you? You concurrent viewers, you? What kind of questions that we might have out there besides, why is this guy yammering and asking if we have any questions? Why does he think vibrato is so important? And why is he playing that vibrato with a finger that's obviously injured? Bill, I'm surprised that you aren't asking me about Schrodinger's cat. Ah, yeah. Vinnie Moore versus Yngwie Malmsteen. Tactics and approach. So, if we were doing the classic Yngwie, the classical Yngwie lick, the Yngwie plays it like that, yes. Or starting with an upstroke, just like so. Vinnie Moore would not approach it this way. He would approach it this way. So, monstrous player. In some ways, in many ways, in fact, substantially more, I think, attuned to the instrument than Yngwie was, but is. But you know, I can't prove that. I think it's just a matter of taste and approach. Is that Vinnie Moore did more of like the Al Di Meola thing, where Yngwie did the Yngwie thing. You know, take Uli Roth and just go ahead and speed that up, speed that up, speed that up. I'll play that. Classically, Yngwie did absolutely take the shoot that type of thing. So him with the, but usually in F sharp. So you know that thing. I can't do it right now, but you understand where I'm going with that. That was absolutely an Uli lick from the what was that? What album was that? Earthquake. In fact, that was from the song of the same name. He plays that at the end of it, and he just speeds it up and speeds it up and speeds it up. So anything that you're playing that's Yngwie is usually, well, it's kind of Uli first. So it's not anything. I mean, he plays a whole bunch of other stuff too. Albinoni, Bach, some Paganini and whatnot. But then again, so does Uli. So there you go. And I highly recommend Uli as well. If you're not into Uli Roth, man, you're missing out on a whole huge bunch of stuff. Granted, the guy can't sing worth beans, but you're really going to have to just get around that and understand that if it wasn't for him, he's the foundation of all modern guitar playing, in my humble opinion. Of course, he would blame Hendrix, but I think Uli had a whole lot more to do with where we're at now than Hendrix did. Hendrix had more to do with, like, up through the 70s, making guitar players like Uli, and, you know, he was foundational. But, you know, you get to a certain level and all of a sudden the foundation still matters, yes, but the floor you're standing on kind of matters too. So, like, if the floor that you're on wasn't there, you'd be falling straight to the foundation. But it is a well-founded house, so you crawl up to the second floor. Uli Roth's floor is right there, and then you can climb up after that. And of course, like I said, though, he's foundational. After that, we have other players that took over, and he is an unsung, unheralded hero of the entire 80s and thrash, and not only thrash, but Marty Friedman and all that kind of stuff. But you know, as far as like shred guitar playing in the first place, heck, man. What was that Mike Varney thing for like Homegrown Heroes or whatever that article that he had back in the day? It was something like, do you shred like Uli Roth or Michael Schenker? You know, I want to hear you. Send me your stuff. So that's pretty much the start of Shrapnel Records right there, man. So he crediting Uli Roth as being a shredder, and he is a monster player. So get into Uli if you haven't heard Uli, and that's spelled Uliroth, and you might want to put John, Jon, in the middle of that, because there are so many Uli Roths out there. Yngwie J. Malmsteen, anyone? So no Schrodinger's cat this week. Let's change keys. Anybody who was wondering, that's Hopper, who was in the background there, and is again. In fact, let's lay that down. Let's talk modes. Seems to be a problem for a lot of people. So you hear that low D, ringing out in the background there like a bell, gong, just kind of hanging out, minding its own peace. Scales. Take a scale that you know. Start it on an E note. And play that scale with the E ringing in the background. Start out with an easy one. Let's do major. That's the sound of major. Play around with it. Explorer. Sound of major, huh? Kind of nice. All right. Let's change that up a little bit. Let's try minor. Somewhere around the sixth of that major scale will be your minor key, A minor key. There's many minor keys, of course. The next one up would be a Dorian. Actually, let's do that. So if we took the next grouping, and we took where that started and we shift that down, so now we're only playing the same notes that we just did. Here, it's going to sound a little different. It will sound like Dorian. Right? Excuse me. Because there's a G in there now. Which, by the way, happens to correspond with D major. And I think you could think that that sounds a little different than what we were just doing. The main difference here is that this note is one flat from where we were. So the seventh is not a natural seventh, but a flat seventh now. And the third is not a major third, but a flat one. So this is now now here. And this spiders. You're a turkey. Now we're going to play pure Aeolian, or minor. So we're going to take this note. We're going to flatten that. And this is the tone of E minor. And played in D, of course. Or... Somebody needs to get Bill off of here. No. Or hit a wrong note while I'm calling Bill a turkey. The same token, though. So you're hearing the differences, which is the whole point of modes, right? You're hearing the difference in the sounds that all these different notes are creating when they're played in, like, instead of place that you might be comfortable with them over a single root note. So you can summarize them, of course, in other ways, like with arpeggio, seventh arpeggios, for instance. You get a really good tonality on that. Like that says, I'm screaming in Lydian. This is a sharp 4. I'm going to mess with that for just a second. Turn that off after all. Major. Lydian. One note difference makes all the difference. Happy as a girl, as all get out. Or suddenly we're in Tibet. Otherwise, Lydian and Major share an awful lot of other notes. In fact, Major. Lydian. So, playing around with that kind of stuff. And there's other things too. Now, if you really want a shock to your system, you'll play Locrian. What's Locrian? Or Locrian? If you play a major scale, like we've been doing, it would start from the 7th of the major scale. Because we're playing in Locrian, we want it to sound like Locrian, so we will play it with that as a root note. Now, Locrian is a funny one. It's got a flat 2, flat 3, flat 5, flat 6, and a flat 7. That's a fun one. It's already kind of evil sounding, right? And it gets more fun because of that flat 5. But you never can go because the 5 isn't there. The flat 5 is. Ah, that's it. That's right. It's essentially D minor. And so, that's a fun one because that's very thrash metal. You'll find that in a lot, well, not a lot, but in several thrash metal tunes, especially all over like the So Far So Good So What album. It's just going to be screaming at you. This is in Locrian, this is in Locrian, or Locrian if you want to pronounce it that way. But you know, tomato, tomato, right? So if we go on from there, and we play one note different, instead of playing a flat 5, let's play a regular 5. We have Phrygian, which is the third mode of major. But that's the thing. If you notice, I'm taking all those different scales where you may know them, if you know how they all connect. And you are familiar with several shapes of them and whatnot, but it's basically just taking one of those shapes and saying, all right, I'm playing that off a home bass. So in this case, that's your home bass. Harmonic minor is another one we can throw in there. The fifth mode of harmonic minor being Phrygian dominant. So we can take the Phrygian like we were just doing. And we can sharp that third. And instantaneously we're like, oh yeah, it's a sound I'm familiar with. So that's for anybody who's really looking at how to get sounds, you know, the modes, you know, how do they work? Well, really all they are is the structures that you play over whatever note it is or tone it is that you're trying to build a modality off of. Hit that. Fine, cool. Now pick some notes that really match what it is that you're trying to achieve. Mézier's third mode. Go for it. Symmetrical diminished. Whole half. Which is very blues, by the way. If you played it in the right spot. Stu, you know what I'm talking about if you're out there. do half whole there. And it's all of a sudden, hey, it's Arabian. If I played it right. Cute. Diminished. One of my favorite things to play, in fact. So I think I've talked enough about modes. But this is where harmonies kind of come in. Back to major. Because you know that's the third. This is where you can build melodies. In fact, what's going on underneath here right now is called a drone. I do like mixing up keys, so if I'm doing major here, maybe a sharp 4 might sound nice. So that's the relative pitch axis, or actually relative pitch modulation that's coined as the pitch axis. We're picking common tones that are shared between a couple of different scales. And in this case, it's just one note off. We can pick a couple more that are a little off. Mixolydian. Literally all exist in there. Bagpipes would be great, right? You get the idea. But Mixolydian is fun. You can kind of combine Mixolydian with Lydian. Well, now, how are we going to do that? It's called Mixolydian Sharp 4. And you will find that in melodic minor. And yes, you can scoot up. Whole tone with that. Speaking of whole tone. Or because it's whole tone. Skip the 5. Would you really want to go to a 5 or a 4? And we're just skipping that whole thing. Bar flutter for anybody who don't know. Whack that bar right at just the tip. I often find myself going this way with it as well. Oh, Lydia, oh, Lydian. Have met Lydian? Still just hitting the tip. And kind of causing some flutter. For anybody who isn't comfortable working on octaves, back to mixed Lydian. Another way of doing it, if you prefer. That's an interesting tonality. Favorite Kevin Wire licks. You get that though? Starting from the next note up. Another one that's fun that I've mentioned before, long ago, is the kind of Thin Lizzy-esque 70s styled. Which can also be done with the chicken picket thing. As I like to talk about the chicken picket thing, more people need to do that. It's harder. Much. So just do it this way. If you'll pardon me all for just a moment. Let that go while I read a thing. Bill, you say you're running late. I understand. You're missing a lovely live stream. Who else is on there? Maximum capacity. Yes. Joel Reismeyer. That's good enough for me. And it's over. All right. So, looks like my buddy ate at Oregano's today. Yes, I would like it. The portions are huge. Anybody wants to see this? Welcome to Arizona. Oregano's. Yeah, he's right. I would love that. The portions are huge. Oh, and cheesecake. Cheesecake! For anybody out there who's a Mac user, Bill, or an iPhone user, for whoever is an iPhone user. Ha! Android for life. PC for life. I do not support Mac products. Anyway, go take that strap to the bank, man. I like things that work. Let's see. Dude, you are not off at all on that estimation, period. I would totally eat there, period. Even if it would take me a week to get through one meal, period. All right, now what else do we have here? Doug and Chris and stuff like that. Clarify schedules. Andy's busy through May. This is all concerning everyone on the internet. Let's see. Then traveling to Scotland in June. He's traveling to Montana for a week, and then he's going to be with Steven in July. So that kind of leaves July to August for the next gathering. Yeah, that sounds that way. Am I going to tell him to tune in? Nah. So. So for the Bill who's running late, who's obviously here. Do you have any questions regarding physics again? Or is it all just... shreddy things? Let's get off of that one, though. This. It's funny, the boosts on the full drive, and this here BP boost, which is an exact copy without all the weight of the EP boost. So the EP boost from Exotic Effects. Dude, or dudette, whoever's out there right now, Bill, those Exotic Effects are absolutely fantastic pedals. The SP boost, for instance, absolutely great. Or drive, that is, the SP drive is really, really nifty. It's got a very nice, expressive sound. It's very Marshall in its approach. And there's some quality like a Rat in there, but it's not quite ratty. It's nice. It's a very, very good pedal. The EP boost, it is the first pedal that I've ever encountered that was, for me, an always on. Even if it's not on a lot. There's some special mojo in there, and I don't even like the term, but it's true, that everything in there, I mean, you turn it on and it's just more. It's more of everything that you have, and more is better. Really. Even if it's just barely on, it's just, yeah, wow, it's just an incredible sound. So I found a very cheap alternative to that from Exotic Effects called the BP Boost. I can't tell who they're trying to rip off there, right? So the BP Boost is a lovely, lovely, nearly exact sounding copy of it, where you turn it on and it's just more, and everything's there that you expect to be there from the EP Boost, but it's $30 instead of $130. So. So as time moves by, I'll probably move a couple of different pedals in here. Just to show, show the, unsuspecting bystander what certain different things sound like. For instance, I'm really, really enamored with this pedal called the Mojo Hand from Exotic Effects, and to my knowledge, there's nothing that really touches it. But it's, if you want something that sounds out of the box, like Steely Dan, or Neil Schon of Journey, this is it. Perfect. Every time, like lights, it's in there. The whole thing. It's perfect. So, I mean, damn, it's good, and it's worth every penny too. It's a good pedal. I got mine used for $100. And I would recommend that anybody who has $100 lying around that wants to sound like that, go get one of those, and you are going to sound like it's going to be great. You'll love it. So, you know, let's say you're playing a Steely Dan cover band or something like that. Go get it. That's all you need. It's the only thing you're going to need. Swear to God, it's great. Well, maybe a delay. But, you know, as time goes by, I'll, you know, swap out a few things and all that. The Cash Cow. That's a fun one, though. With boost. You can hear the extra little fuzziness, right? Little drier type of sound. Let's see here. Nah, I'll leave that up. How many G strings can I hit in one, you know, go? Anyway. Hi, Stu! No, I can't do it today. That whole Paul Gilberty, you know, nail in the picking hand deal is just out of my league right now. There you are. How you doing, Stu? Isn't that fun? So one of the things that I like, don't you be redacting. I like Sty. That was fine. I've got a stew in my eye. So, yeah. So this, listen to this. So those transient tones, right? To me, that's the hallmark of a good pickup. If you get a lot of those transient tones in between notes, and you hear like a nice space on the lows and a nice, you know, thank you, a nice space on the lows and a nice high on the highs, and the in-between notes where they're all going, and it goes, phew, like this. Yeah, where it says message redacted, it sure happened. I saw it. I can play it back, man. It's going to be there, I'm telling you. So... And of course, the Lundgren is full of that stuff. Tetrodining. That's when you're dining in fours. So it's the hue sound, my dude. Yes, thank you, sir. So this to you is a tetradyne. To me, it is a transient tone because it is in between. And it's not really there. It's kind of going... So you would call that a tetradyne, should you? So I will remember that because to me that would be eating in... Okay. Well, I like the hue sound. The hue sound is nice. So Tetra. Actually, that would be what? Tetrarch? Like Tetra 3? So I would be dining in triplicate. Yes. It's a lovely sound. It's one of my favorite things to do on these. So when I'm testing pickups, I'll get new pickups, I'll grab them, I'll throw them in, and if they sound sufficiently tetradinicious. Then I know I've got a good set of pickups. The Paul Gilbert thing works pretty well too. Play it on a clean tone, and if it sounds good on a clean, it's going to sound good with gain. But it really depends on the nature of the gain that you're playing with, doesn't it? Because if you're playing with gain that is just like fuzz, I don't think a clean tone is going to really cover what that's going to sound like with fuzz. I just don't. I think that if you have a relatively clean gain sound, that a clean tone is going to tell you an awful lot about the nature or the character of the sound that you're going to get. Okay, so Iron Gear pickups, for instance, they are some of the cleanest sounding pickups, even with gain, that I'm aware of. They're really, really good. But same with the Lundgren. But it's got a crispness to it. There's a certain kind of a brutish quality to these, where it's just, I don't know. It's a strong. There's a certain strength to it. It's really veiny, so and it's throbbing. So anyway, you get the idea. So it's an extremely strong sound. But no, if you're getting like low output pickups, I think those sound kind of like the Alnico 3s that I've touted before. Those are low output pickups. They're only like an 8, maybe an 8.7 at most. And they have a clarity throughout anything that you play, so you can, they're really kind of like a one size fits all, and it really works in this one size fits all thing, because it's like, all right, if you're trying to fit 18 gallons of water into, and this is gain in, right? So this is where your pickups are. I've got a pickup that is like 3 gallons of water. And I can add pedals and stuff like that on top to boost the signal. And the output is down here. I'm putting 3 gallons of water into a 5-gallon bucket. It's going to work. No problem. It'll catch it all. If I've got like 18 gallons and I'm going to pour it into a 5-gallon bucket, it's just going to overflow, and it's kind of worthless. You're losing a lot of stuff. And in my opinion, that transition is clarity. You're losing clarity. You're losing flexibility as well, because really you're kind of it's a hammer. Everything's a hammer. Or everything's a nail. This is just a hammer. That's all you're getting out of it. So I like a lower output pickup as a result of that. But there are really good applications for higher output pickup. The Lundgren is a higher output pickup. Technically, it's a mid output pickup. It doesn't have that much gain. It's like a 14 or something like that. So some people compare it to the full shred. I don't think it sounds like a full shred. The full shred doesn't have as much beef to it. It's a much more edgy, and I'm not even going to use the word articulate, but it's a more edgy pickup. This has just as much articulation, but it seems to have a kind of a vastness to the sound. So no other way to put it. It's a vastness to it. It's a big pickup. It's a beefy pickup. Of course, when you're tuned to D, it helps. Man, that's almost Bach. Yes, it is. How about that? Let's see. Yeah, more Bach. I cannot play it today. I don't think. I'm going to try again. Fun. natural harmonics. Speaking of those transient tones, which are tetrodyning. Any questions? Or am I just gonna keep screwing around? There we go. Maybe I should go back to the drones. Hold on. Let's do something. Let's do something. Yes, play over this. I have no idea. So, let's see here. No. Well, hi there, Ian's Guitar Shack. How you doing today? Yes, this is more like Guitarist Anonymous. Everybody say hi to Ian. F's in the chat. It is a nice guitar. Thank you very much. I appreciate your support on that. So, a long time ago, in fact, I have a story kind of about this. A long, long time ago in a galaxy far away, because most things have to start that way, right? Oh, no, that's terrible. There we go. A long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I started playing guitar at the age of 14. For you, Stu. But when I was playing up at a music store in Tacoma, which no longer exists, I saw a guitar on the wall. It was a Gibson Les Paul Custom, white, very nice. And I wanted to play it, and I couldn't play worth beans at the time. So I asked the gentleman, I'd like to play that guitar, and the guy's like, that's a $1,500 guitar, man. And something funny happened. It's stuck in my mind that that's like the limit for me on instruments as far as like purchase price. So when I was 18, a friend of mine took me up to Sluggo's Music, also in Tacoma, different music store. And I got to play, actually I probably was 19, a Kirk Hammett model, back when they only had the expensive ones. And I played it through a Laney half stack, and I was pretty happy about that at the time. That was pretty darn cool, and you know, real pro gear and stuff. I only played an Ibanez, and I had a PV Mace, and maybe an ADA MP1 at the time. It was pretty nifty. Schecter Sun Valley Shredder. I used to have one. In my old videos, you may find that I had a Lambo orange one, but it did not have the this nifty little trick bag here. Yeah, the one I had didn't. Yours might. Yeah. I didn't have a Sustainiac in mine either. But the Sun Valley, I'm not. I'm not gonna say that it was my favorite guitar just because it had batteries, and this has battery too, same battery. But the it played really, really nice. I didn't have any problems with it. I just don't really like changing batteries in guitars half the time. And the only one that this really powers is this guy, and I can live without that. I need the Lundgren, but but this is fun. You know, when you remember to change the battery, and when you remember to unplug it when you're done, that really helps. But yeah, no, the Sun Valley Strats are they're okay. They're okay. If I was to make a recommendation to you, and then I'll finish my story from before. You see that? That white Jackson back there, that'll run you about the same price. One modification to it I made was I changed out the pickups, but if you get it stock, it'll be fine. I think you might be impressed by it. I'm just saying. The base price Jacksons that are around the same price as the Schecters, I think they're even made in the same factory, so don't quote me on that, but I think they are. You got passives in yours? Dude, are you serious? Dude, oh man. Okay, so now I'm all like jealous because that was really the only big flaw. And I'm serious, that was a big flaw for me that I have with it. But there's a story that I was telling, and I'll get back to that, and I'll get back to my my Schecter Sun Valley story. So I'm also really picky, so we're going to get back to that. So anyway, I played that Kirk Hammett guitar. The Kirk Hammett guitar was, again, $1,500. That solidified my price cap. I will never pay more than $1,500. Well, then there's this thing called inflation. So as inflation gets higher and higher and higher, things are costing more and more and more. And of course, things are costing more and more to produce because people need to get paid more, and it's a never-ending cycle, and it just keeps going up. Guitars get more expensive. I own this. I bought it new. Most of the time I buy guitars used, but I bought my Sun Valley new, and with active EMGs. They're like 78s or whatever they are that are supposed, and they sounded great. Not so great for rhythms in my opinion, but for leads, oh my God, they were so good. They really, really were. Now, on with the show. This was $1,700. I've never, it exceeded my $1,500 limit by $200. Most of the time when I buy a guitar, it's like $600-700. I'll never spend more than $400, $300 for the white one. Yeah, I threw in some custom stuffs. That Stratish looking thing back there, I rebuilt that from a Squire that was kind of destroyed that I bought at auction for like $100. That Jackson was $899, $799, $849. It was about $800. But they're all paid for, so I'm really happy, except for this one. So I'm really happy about that. Guitars I build cost less than that, by a long shot. This silvery Strat or Telly looking thing down here that I'll grab. I built this. Total cost was around $300, so that makes me happy. But so because I'm a cheapskate. But at any rate, yeah. So the question is, would I ever do it again? Would I ever spend that kind of cash on a guitar again? No, I won't. Because what I can get out of this, I can get out of any one of those. What I've got out of this on a personal level is a really neat finish that I really, really, really liked that they stopped making. And that killed me. I've got inlay here that it's the same font. I used to play the gold box, Pool of Radiance, way back in the day on the Commodore 64 when I was like 12 all the way through 18 because there really wasn't any, good consoles back then in my opinion. But I was playing that and a lot. And this is the font that they used. So this is like youth talking to me here, and it's got pretty much everything I want in a guitar. It's got it's got carbon reinforcement. It's got Purple Heart. I'm a little weird about Purple Heart, but it's got roasted maple. It's got ash body. I love that stuff. It is a neck through body. I'm not you can't adjust the neck angle, so I'm a little weird about that. I like bolt-ons as a result of that, but it's got a nice ebony fretboard. It's got stainless steel frets. There's nothing to complain. It's got a Lundgren pickup. It's expensive, but so there's really nothing to complain about. Except for the price. So again, I'm kind of a cheapskate. But so hey man, Ian's Guitar Shack, Stu the True, and Bill, if you guys have any questions for me regarding anything that I've spoken of tonight, or anything you want to know, did I say Purple Heart? I did say Purple Heart. Well, I know what you're referencing, Stu. But yes, I sure did. There it is, right there. I didn't build the thing. Personally, I would have put in Bloodwood. It's much harder, and it's also not filled with dread from my previous builds. Sean, if you're out there, so. But yeah, it's got Purple Heart in there, and I've got to say too that as thin as the neck is, and it does play extremely well, as thin as the neck is, and even if it's got carbon reinforcements in there, even if you adjust the truss rod just a little bit, to kind of help stiffen it up, yes, Bloodwood, good. So, and you have a guitar with Bloodwood in it, so along with a cherry neck, that would be the Jurassic Slag. So anyway, the neck still likes to deflect a little this way, no matter what. It really, really likes to. In fact, to get it to be straight, the truss rod is kind of cranked right now, and I'm not really happy about that, which is one of the reasons why I would prefer a bolt-on neck. I could adjust all sorts of things and make it just perfect. But here's what I was going to say on the Sun Valley. I got that thing brand new. It was the first new guitar I'd bought in years. I mean years, more than 10. So I got that. I was really excited about it. It came from Sweetwater. Sweetwater, of course, had all their checks and balances and stuff like that to it. Okay, cool. I get it. And there's a high fret. Damn it. So I have to do a fret job on it. Because, by the way, if you don't, you should learn how to do your own frets. I'm not even joking. Learn how to do your own frets. It's going to save you so much time and money and effort. But you'll start to get picky. Oh, Ziricote. Oh, dude, you got that one? I love that. Okay, so that is a beautiful instrument of yours. So well done, I have to say. That's just gorgeous. So the Black Limbo one also appeals to me greatly, but the Ziricote is just gorgeous. So I've got some pieces. I'm not even sure. I might have a piece of Ziricote in here. No. Hold on a second. I'm going to stand myself up. I'm going to walk on over yonder. I'm going to pick up some wood samples, if you don't mind. Pardon me. So, my rear. So right here, that's not it. Right there, that's not it. That's not it. And now I got a bunch of fretboard blanks in here. This one being my favorite. I still, I'm looking at building here a little bit. So this guy, this is Palfero, also known as Murado. But it is a rosewood family. It's not rosewood. And by the way, the CITES 2 treaty is now allowing rosewood in limited quantities, like Brazilian rosewood for instrument building again. So if you can get your hands on some, that's great. There you go. This has a template on it. It's sawn up. It's ready to go. I don't usually use templates like this, so this is kind of experimental. And it's an expensive experimental because, this wood is $45 a board foot when I bought it. No, $54 a board foot when I bought it. So let's move the numbers around. Dyscalculia in the house. And, this is zebra wood, by the way. It looks a lot like pale moon ebony. But this stuff is not cheap and probably shouldn't be messed with in the nature that I was messing with it. So, I probably shouldn't have, experimented in that way. But $54 a board foot, what does that mean? That means it's the most expensive wood that you can buy, practically. And I bought a slab of it. I thought, this is great. They rang it up, and I think about like 6 feet of it. So they rang it up, and it was just, a little thing. I was just making fretboards out of it, and that's it. And, they rang it up, and what it rang up to was something like $147 to $130, $130. And I can build like 2 or 3 guitars with that. If I was buying like ash and cedar, or not cedar, sorry, cherry, and a whole bunch of stuff like that. Pasadena Sunset Strip USA pickups. Dude! So that's the whole point about the not having active pickups, is that you don't have to be active in continually changing the batteries. And I fully believe that there's more soul in them anyway. They're getting close. The Fishmans are getting pretty close, but you still have to change the battery. Or you have to recharge them, depending on how it is. This, by the way, is black poison wood. It's also known as Chechen. There's another thing for you right there that's just kind of interesting. It's got some nice little weird grain to it. But that's a nice replacement for rosewood. It's a little higher quality than laurel. But there's nothing wrong with laurel. Laurel, Laurel. Heck, that silver guitar I brought up here was Laurel. So, yeah. This is kind of disappointing. I've got Sherry here. I don't actually have any of my Ziracote stuffs to show off. Padauk, on the other hand. So, Padauk is one of my favorite woods to work. It smells like cinnamon. Sounds like a cross between mahogany and maple as it is. Absolutely adore the stuff. And it feels great in the hands. It really, really does. And yes, I was ripping off Caparison with this one. So one of these days I'm going to yank all this stuff out of it and actually use it again in another build. But I don't really build 25-inch scale necks anymore. So that's that. But if you can get your hands on a Padauk-made instrument, you will be a very happy person. They're very nice. So at any rate, going on with the stories. And re-picking up an instrument. Ladies and gentlemen, let's plunk. On a guitar that's way out of tune. There we go. Let's see. Hey, most of my guitar pickups are inactive. Yes. Fatter and slower sounding? Oh, that's funny. Your sense of humor. Anyway, I'll stop fooling around. Sorry about that. That's more of a deliberate instrument. If you're playing piccolo, you kind of should know what it is that you want to play before you do it. Just my advice. So at any rate, they are fun. Let's see. Walk around the music store terrified. I can imagine. Yes. Megadeth played in piccolo. So it would be hilarious. So let's see. Guitar lately. Yeah, it's essentially a guitar lately. Yes, but I like the term piccolo guitar because it doesn't sound like I play a ukulele. Yes, okay, so I have a baritone ukulele over there. You can't see it from here, but I do have one. Well, maybe you can see it from. No, you can't see it from here. Ha 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 ha. The microphone blocks it. At any rate, any questions of theory, technique, anything like that? Stu is actually one of the most theoretically unchallenged people I know. And I'm sure he would be happy to answer other questions that I have difficulty doing or explaining things better than I do. So while he's here, grab his attention. Oh, yes. What were we going to do there? Something like this. Right. I remember now. Easiest things in the world to play are sometimes very pretty to play over. With that, actually, Bill, I was going to talk about Randy Rhoads. originally was going to talk about Randy, I was going to mention that I believe I owned 3 Schecters. I owned the Sun Valley. I owned this one. Did I have a third? Actually, yes. Yeah, I have a Nick Johnston model as well. The pink one. So it's an absolute beaut. Love the way it plays. It sounds great. In fact, I should probably go ahead and grab that. But my fingers are really happy with me playing on a down-tuned instrument right now. Ian, if you didn't know, I am nursing an injury that I got while I was sleeping. So you can tell, the athletic behavior of a person. The proclivity of a person's athleticism during sleep. Yeah. So at any rate, somehow I screwed up my radial nerve and my finger is numb. So I'm kind of stumbling all over myself, and it's kind of a bad thing. But I'm taking the doctor's advice, either lowering the tuning, which I'm playing in D right now, trying to give the finger a break. Anyway, besides giving the finger the finger, the other guitars I've got are pretty much all tuned to standard pitch. With the exception of Mr. E flat over there is the Jackson Rhodes, the pink stripes that you see in the corner. With the exception of that, and I think the blue guy over here, the Ibanez, everything is very, EE. Randy Rhoads. What to say about my first Guitar Hero? A lot. So as far as I know, we were talking earlier on WhatsApp. Oh, thanks, brother. Thank you very much, dude. Randy didn't really hate Eddie. To save face, Eddie pretends not to hate. Pretended, past tense. Not to hate him. But there was animosity. I was to do that again. Good times. So the Randy thing, what I was talking about before. Pretty simple and consistent stuff with that. Yes, they all lived in Los Angeles, Pasadena, that kind of thing. Van Halen had a large following. Randy liked Van Halen's music. Did do the whole kind of, to kind of do his own little version, of which was pretty common at the time, but Van Halen did kind of start it. Was he the first person to tap on a guitar? No, but he was the first person to kind of do that. And Van Halen kind of patented that maneuver. So anybody doing that, everybody kind of knew, yeah, it's the progenitor of it. Randy was a more classically influenced guy. And I could say that with some authority. Yes, Van Halen was more of a pianist and son of a famous clarinet guy, but and went all over the world and understood a lot of music and stuff. But at the same time, he was not as classically influenced as Randy Rhoads was. It's just a fact. So Randy played a whole lot of things with, you know, class and flair that, and with a lot of harmonic and melodic complexity that just wasn't found in the Van Halen music. Now, I'm not saying better here. I'm just saying he did play differently. And like I said, Rhodes looked up to him. Anybody feel like I'm doing beat poetry right now? I should have like bongos, which I have down there. But so Van Halen didn't really care for him too much. You know, he's this young upstart. They're all kind of, you know, fighting for like fame and, you know, fortune and notoriety and who's the best guitar player and all that kind of stuff. And look, when you're young, that's a thing. You're going to do that, especially if you have some, you know, level of skill. It's going to happen. I'm not the same guitar player I was when I was 18. I still, you know, get my hackles up when people, oh, I'm the best. Oh, you are? Can you do what I can do? And I can't do as much as I used to be able to do. but you know, I'm not that guy anymore. But, you know, everybody in the 80s had a little bit of that in them. You know, the 6-gun thing. Rhodes played an MXR Distortion Plus. Two different beasts, exactly. They both contributed a huge amount. Van Halen, inarguably, Van Halen contributed more to the scene than did Rhodes. But Rhodes did contribute to the scene because, you know, he had the darker side going for him, whereas Van Halen was more of along that. I'm going to try to do this in E here, you know, like... what is it? Yeah. You know, he had that kind of thing going for him, but they had a lot of the same vocabulary because all of these things, you know, inversions were also, you know, down here. Let me go ahead and turn that off, actually. There we go. So. Right? Van Halen-esqueness all over the place. And all of that is a 1-4-5, but done with inversions. So you got your one. What's this? It's a D major with a third on top. E major with a third on top. Which is Louie Louie. Thanks, Kevin. You can play that in a different way, too. And by the way, that's Crazy Train. 1-5-4. Yeah. Or here. And then... Which is how he played it live. Or, not live. Live, it was... And then every once in a while... You'd get those. Sure, but in the studio, there is rumor that he did this. Thanks, finger. So this was the other, you know, kind of part to it. Mixolydian versus harmonic minor. Are you talking about the harmonic minor? Like variant of Mixolydian, or, you know, where Mixolydian shows up against like minor. So that would be okay. Your standard harmonic minor. I'm thinking that's where you're going. Mixolydian would normally be found, you know, one down from minor, Aeolian. So what you'd have here is like a sharp root. So let's play that. Pretty neat. It's not super Locrian neat, but it's pretty neat. So I'm not even sure what that would be called. Super mixo. What is the what would that be? The seventh mode of harmonic minor. Stu, go. So, or if we're talking about Mixolydian versus harmonic minor, without all the gain. So both Mixolydian and harmonic minor have a couple of different notes, right? So if I was to play, I mean, are you talking about play something that I can play both over? All right, there's that drone again. Here's E Mixolydian. Oh, you're talking about Van Halen versus Rhodes. I get it. Sorry about that, man. I'm a little slow. Yeah, whereas Van Halen was a little more telltale Mixolydian, yes, Rhodes was definitely more harmonic minor. Very, very well put. Two slightly different schools, although Rhodes did do an awful lot of blues stuff when he was a kid. The classical influence is undeniable, though, especially when you're doing stuff like... Thanks, finger. No. I'll figure it out. But, so it was D. Maybe it was here. Yeah. That's, No. Oh no! Somebody help me. Which one was it? Out of that. You don't get anything like that from Van Halen. You get the... In Cathedral, that was more of his, without the harmonic minor. So, let's get that delay up. Let's do a slapback, shall we? Somewhat. There we go. But, of course, with the... No, I actually don't know how to play Cathedral. I never learned it. In fact, my Van Halen albums is going to piss a lot of people off, but I'm going to say it. I went from Van Halen 1 to 1984 to 5150 and OU 812. And everything else in between is kind of hazy, except for the live version of Unchained, which isn't really that live, but it's somewhat live. So... Same effect. Can be used for Brian Mayisms. Instead of going, you kind of team up with it. Ish. Brian May Ish. I'm not good with flashy guitar tricks. Need practice. I will help you, man. So, grab your instrument. Let's play. So, insofar as the flashy guitar stuff, the tricks that'll get you all the chicks. Yeah, something like that. Back that back up, move it back to where it was before. I like that sound. There we are. Too much. Whoa. Stop that. Yeah. There we go. Yes, much better. Okay, so I'm happier now. So the whole thing about the flashy tricks isn't so much about flashy tricks. It's more about, and I've said this before in a video that I did back in December, it's about how you stop and what notes you choose when you're doing it. So if you wanted to do all the whole, type of stuff, go ahead, that's fine, that's great. But you got to stop sometime. When you do, the stopping part, vibrato, is like the most important thing. So if I was to show you, like I said, the licks that'll get you all the chicks, it's a vibrato that's kind of, exaggerated. It's kind of wide, but there's a certain quality to it. It's kind of like, yeah, that's a solid vibrato. And I'm not even joking. This is the thing you actually got to work on. Everybody needs to work on their vibrato, even if they're good at it. I still work on mine, and I like to consider mine pretty okay. So this big old, wide. So the two things that are involved in the stuff that I just did is vibrato, yes, and playing with authority. In other words, picking it like you mean it. Play it like you mean it. So, as Paul Gilbert would say, it's not so much what notes you hit, it's how hard you whack the string, okay? So, that's not in there. Bending it to one that is. So if you stop on a wrong note, you're one note off from being at a right note. So you can do it many different ways. You can do that. Make it right. That matters. And all I'm doing is I'm trying to be metered with the vibrato. I'm not trying to do like a little fast here, a little slow there. I'm trying to get it all pretty much the same and on a tempo. So if I'm thinking to myself, which I'm kind of doing right now, you like Paul's advice? I do too. Very much. So, whack that string and make people believe it. Like that's what you meant to play, right? So rules to life. You're trying to fake it, right? If you're trying to fake it, here's a great way of thinking about that. How's your head, honey?
So,
Okay. Am I too loud?
no,
Hey, everybody. All right. So here's the trick to that. So if you're sneaking into a place and you're acting all suspicious, like you're not supposed to be there, you're probably going to get caught. If you're sneaking into a place and you just walk in, like you own the joint, people might ask you some questions, but if you speak with some authority, like you know what you're doing there, they might actually believe that you're supposed to be there. So I'm not trying to give you advice on breaking into places, but what I'm trying to do is give you advice on how to break into places musically, right? So it's and I think you could see the veracity in that. If you talk the right game, which is say if you hit a wrong note, all you've got to do is slink down 1 or 2 frets or pull up with vibrato. Exactly, Stu. That's exactly right. Act like you mean it. Exactly. That's what I'm talking about. So if I'm walking in to a place and I don't know Ian, I don't know if you know this about me, but I am not a blues player. But it's like I'm speaking with an accent. Okay, so that's not my home base, though. I'm much more of the type of neoclassical influenced kind of a person. But the blues has always kind of been there. But so if I'm going to do the type of deal, that's me saying like I would like an order of French fries, but saying it like in the South, I'd like an order of French fries. Or in England, I would like an order of French fries. It's all a matter of, how you enunciate. So all of this is just, where do you put the accents on the syllables? So as far as this goes, vibrato, I'm being measured with it. This na 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 na. Imagine I'm picking. Okay? I'm going to drop down one fret, and I'm going to go between this note and this note. I'm trying to be metered with that, and I'm trying to effect notes with it. So if I'm bending... chips, exactly. So you got to know the accents. You got to know the different names for it. I'm going to put the chips in my trunk. No, my boot. Yes. So you gotta know. So that would be like me saying, I'm gonna put the chips in the trunk. No, he's not a blues guy. It doesn't fit. Or if I were to do the whole, no, he's not a neoclassical guy. You got to be able to, kind of incorporate the ideas and make them work together. So, but I'm glad you get my point. That whole thing there is, honestly, it's like know your audience, what it is, and also know really what it is that you're trying to convey, what you're trying to get out. Is just about as important as not only knowing your audience. I mean, your audience, it may not be your audience that you're playing to. I mean, you might be playing to the Brits, and by the same token, you might be, having an audience of Arabs. But it doesn't really make a difference. If they're there to see you, they already know what they're going to get. So anyway, that's neither here nor there. What I'm getting to, though, is this whole thing with vibrato. To be exact with it, I'm metered in the way I perform it. So like rhythmically. And I want you to notice that when I'm bending, I'm in key. So, and each vibrato is a bend. It's a very small bend that repeats itself in forward and reverse relatively quickly to a targeted note. Now, you don't have to be perfectly exact to it. Like when I was doing that, that's... Yes, glare at the instrument like it's the guitar. That actually, we could roll guitar faces into that too. So if I was to mess up and then I would correct the mistake, make it look like, whoo, you're crazy and you're on the far, the edge of it all. But this is like emoting, right? This is a different thing than actually putting emotion to the end. This is not playing with emotional content, but this is showing, the audience, whoo, I'm a showman. So Vai, by the way, Steve Vai is the most perfect example of that. Almost sociopathically so. He's very, very measured in all of his movements, all of his facial expressions. What he puts into it is absolutely figured out before he does it, and it's pathological. It's perfect, but it's pathological, and it's kind of weird if you think about it. But this whole thing with that wrong note, I'm going to play some wrong notes in there, but it's all going to sound right, and I'm going to do this. Like, whoa, what am I doing? And you get the general idea that, whoa, he's on the cutting edge. Or I could do this. Give me a second. I wonder if I have a spray bottle around. No. Oh, but I do have some water. Actually, this would be perfect. Give me a quick second on this. I gotta do myself up. I think you'll appreciate this. Stu, Bill especially. All right, here we go. You got the water and the face. Here we go. A little bit more. And slick back the hair. And all right, hold on. I got this. This is a great impression. You'll appreciate it. You already know who I'm going to be. Get a what? Get a Honeywell? I'm not even sure what you're referencing, but okay. So I got to get these on now. And now I'm all, wet and sweaty and picking up a guitar. And I'm only going to play blues licks that Peter Green played or Gary Moore played. So, and I gotta go. By the way, that hurt the shit out of my arm. Yes, Joe Bonamassa. Very good. So, a fan. Yes, I need a fan. Anyway, I'm all wet now. Isn't that fun? So, never has a hack invaded the guitar community more than that guy. So, he's only playing, I swear to God, Peter Green licks, or Gary Moore licks, or Peter Green licks with Gary Moore's tone, and Gary Moore's kind of guitars, with amps that cost as much as a house, sometimes guitars too. Well, he looks like Quentin Tarantino having a stroke. And he's too hot. I don't like the guy. I hear he's a really nice dude. But on a personal level, I'm like, that guy's a hack. And his audience reflects the same kind of say. Very good, Ian. Very good. The guy, and if you don't like what I'm saying, fine. But understand that there are other people. And I perceive the guy as a guy that he's way overrated. You want to listen to Bonamassa? You want to listen to where he got his stuff? If you like a person, listen to their influences. And if you listen to their influences, sometimes you'll discover they're not just influences. I'll tell you how I feel, Bill. So now here he's a nice guy. He's well-moneyed, obviously. He did tour with B.B. King when he was 5 years old. Yes, he's been in the business for a long time. But if you listen to him when he's at home, he's doing stuff like this. All right, so if that's how you play, why don't you play like that? Because this is an act. His audience is like, if you ever watch Yanni live, and this is something I actually appreciate because the musicality of it is pretty spectacular, especially with the instrumentations and whatnot. But his audience looks like Yanni's audience. Maybe there's a reason for that. So, all right. So I'll stop hammering on a guitar icon of our time, of which you can't go a day without seeing that sweaty, persona. Being heralded as some sort of great on any guitar websites. But, and I'll get back to actual guitar heroes. So, Peter Green, great guitar player. Inventive guitar player. Gary Moore, inventive guitar player. I like authenticity. I can't help myself. So it's inborn. So does he play like he means it? I'm sure he does. Does he play with an accent? Yeah. Like I said, I'm not a blues guy. I'm much more of the, Oh, okay. So you don't have to see him live to see him live. That's the whole point. PBS. This was Inescapable in 1994. We only had hey, this tells you how old I am. So in 1994, when I was 20, we only had 30 whole years ago. We only had about 30 stations to watch. One of which was PBS, and it usually consisted of at nighttime. They got on these, like, I don't know if they still do. I haven't had TV since 2015, but they've got they used to have these kind of, oh God, I don't know, salvos. Because once they start one thing, they're going to play it to freaking death. The first place I ever saw Mr. Bean was on Channel 9, at PBS, Public Broadcasting System station. And I fell in love with it. It was great. But the first time I ever saw Yanni, it was the same type of thing. In fact, I never heard him before Yanni Live at the Acropolis played on Channel 9. Austin City Limits, exactly, which is the first place I ever heard... oh gosh, what's his name? And no, it's not Eric Johnson. That's too obvious. This guy's an acoustic player, and he plays so freaking well, and he's so inventive, and he's so unique and original. I'm gonna find out. Give me a second, y'all. Yeah, dude, Austin City Limits, great stuff. The movers and the shakers, they're all there, and it's great. Let me see. So watch music. Oh, there's Yanni live at the Acropolis. Leo Kottke. Oh, Phil Keggy. He's amazing. But no, Leo Kottke. Look that guy up. He's hard to find, but my God, he's amazing. So Phil Keggy, I've seen him live. I saw him live in a church. Amazing player. Missing fingers, amazing player. So, that's saying something. Missing a finger, but one of my first favorite chicken pickers. Yeah, Leo's great, dude. So anyway, and when his show at the Austin City Limits, which you can find like on freaking Russian YouTube sites, which is where I got my copy of it, and it's only a partial copy of it. But I used to have it on VHS. My grandfather, this is when I was probably 16, ran in. Hey, Kirk, he called me Sonny Boy. Sonny Boy, turn on Channel 9. There's a guitar player doing great stuff, and I turned it on, and it's Leo Kottke, and I was impressed, to say the least. I hit record, and I got like the last 3 tracks off of that, and I was really happy about it. The guy plays amazingly well. So Soundstage, I think I remember Soundstage. I remember Rock School, which was kind of a British thing, from BBC that they licensed and played over here, which was the first place I ever saw Alan Holdsworth play, and that was a life-changing experience. He was playing the keytar, the whole like guitar thing that was all pretty much the Synthax. That's it. Pardon me for the slurps. Anyway, and again, life-changing, absolutely life-changing. Just see a guy just sitting there and blowing out all these kind of these crazy-ass legato lines. And it was amazing. And he's not really even looking. And so from then on, I was a fan of Alan Holdsworth. So yeah, the Synthax is amazing. So the Synthax, Ian, if you don't know, and you might, it's like a guitar, except instead of the fretboard being like increasingly narrower frets because of that 1.6 ratio type of deal we're going here, it's all the same distance in between each fret because it's all MIDI triggered. You don't have to have it narrow because you're not actually going up. It's just giving you a place to put your fingers, which is kind of comfortable and natural. But it's all the same distance all the way down to like here is where it stops, and it's tuned normally. It's broken here, so this part, you can't really do much else but play up and kind of put up this way. But then you've got this broken part with 6 strings over here that you can play to give it, like inflection. How much oomph is the string going to get? It's nuts. But, and of course it's MIDI, so you can get all sorts of different sounds. And, it was an interesting thing. Thousands of dollars, and they only, made a couple of them. Holdsworth had one, even though it kept showing up in different colors. It was just basically painted for him. That was it. But yeah, really, really nifty things. So the Soundstage, I remember vaguely that. I mean, I am 50, so I've been around the block a bit, but it's a vague recollection. Anyway, the Yanni thing. So look up Yanni live at the Acropolis. You don't have to watch the whole thing, but pay attention to the audience, and then go find a Joe Bonamassa clip live, and then look at the audience and go, oh yeah, it's the same thing. It's essentially a PBS audience of older people trying to hear something that they feel is authentic with all of their monies. So it's one of those type of things. Now I think the Yanni thing is actually better. So they actually had some good stuff on there. There's other guitar players they've had on PBS as well. And I'm trying to think of the name of the dude that I'm thinking of now. But Bill, I sent one of these to you a long time ago, and it's another one of those guitar player fellas. Let me see if I can find this. Down the road. Run down the road of the mountain road. Run down the road. The road on a... oh, man, I just wish I could remember the guy's name. Tie up your skirt and run down the road. Something like that. I'll be back with you in a second. Promise. Amazing guitar player, though. Guitar. I'll just say that. slide guitar, possibly. And it is on none of these. Like, so as far as like blues players go, I have a lot more respect for Justin Johnson than I do, even though he's kind of got the act thing going as well, than I do Bonamassa. I think, honest to God, it's just because people like saying his last name. That's it, which is why he's popular. So, personal opinion. Everybody's got one. So, but at least I'm honest about it. So, let's see. You know what? I'll find it, and I'll probably have something, playing in the next go round on Sundays. I like these Sunday streams. They're good, at least for me. And I have tomorrow off, so I can, not have to worry so much about screaming into bed like now. It works for me. So let's get back on track. And Sonny Landreth, no. Rycooter, no. Synthax Kills, no. Rycooter, fun stuff. Rye didn't do that. So he didn't do this part either. All Vi. Alan Holdsworth is a hard listen. I'm just going to warn you now. So I would recommend Wardenclyffe Tower. Any live footage with Chad Wackerman on drums, absolutely worth a watch. Nobody really remembers anything he wrote. So, oh yeah, Cooter is killer on the slide, straight up. So Rye plays extremely well. And he's authentic, dude. That guy is absolutely authentic. So are the Kings, BB and Albert. So, in fact, Albert King is where, everybody's heard Stevie Ray Vaughan's whole, type of thing, bending-wise. He got it from Albert King. So, but he took the story and he made it his own, and he went farther with it, and he gave it a Texas sizzle, and that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to be influenced by your influences. You're not supposed to copy them directly. That's not what it's about. We're not all Joe Stump, right? So, take the song, take the story, and move it along. Make it your own. Do other things with it. As Marty Friedman would say, variations, are the key here. So the Holdsworth thing, Wardenclyffe Tower, like I said before, you won't remember a single song on it, I promise you, but you will remember the leads. Holdsworth had an amazingly crazy vocabulary. As far as like his chordal structures are concerned, he had a book actually called Reaching for the Uncommon Chord, which you'll get a whole lot of different, variations of the same type of thing there. But so that's diminished, and right there, I'm adding kind of a, well, what the hell would that be? I don't know. I'm just going to make it up as I'm going along. You hardly ever get any kind of real tonalities. Almost everything is like suspended to suspended to suspended and seventh to suspended. But he will go through just about every note there is to play, chordally speaking. Actually, he is uncanny with his voice leadings. I cannot play like Holdsworth, much like I can't play like Chris Poland either. But Holdsworth has got his own thing going on. But when it comes down to his leads, I can play a little bit more like him. That whole thing with the type of deal. He's extremely legato. He does do a lot of picking, but his approach, and I can explain this in the same sense that I can explain the Metal Fatigue, specifically the song Devil Take the Hindmost, is very memorable harmonically. Yes. In fact, the song Metal Fatigue is very memorable in its beginning as well. Mainly because he's got a harmonizer going, and it's kind of absolutely nuts. But you're not wrong. The leads are monstrous as well. So Yastu, I have no argument for that. But notice you're only mentioning two. But yeah, There's a song he did called Funnels, which is moderately memorable. I think the more you listen to it, the more you'll probably be able to remember it, structurally. But to me, Wardenclyffe Tower is one album of one song, played slightly differently throughout. Because after a while, because of all the chord tones that he's using and leading tones, voice leadings, I should say, he invariably creates similar structures throughout the album. Lead wise though, man, ain't nobody touching that guy. Nobody. And he didn't do pull-offs, if you didn't know. But I was going to say that there's a guy out there, used to play for Nelson, and if anybody wants to chime in with that, I think he was your badass of the day a while back, Bill. Let me go ahead and look him up, because I've got him hanging around here somewhere. Instructional, very good. Guitar oriented. I've got lots of those. It ain't Frank Gambale, but he is part of this deal. Tony McAlpine, Scott Henderson. That's a guy you should get, any guitar instructional stuffs from if you, really want to learn kind of emoting. Scott Henderson was my key to understanding things like, the accent. Let's see. Wow, do I not have it in here? I don't have it in here. That's amazing. I actually owned it. So, let's see. Sean Lane. Yeah, dude, Sean Lane. That guy. That guy. Frightening player. Let's do a Sean Lane lick. That'll be fun. So, and I don't mean like, let's play in fives. Which, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing the, 4. What would he do? 5s and 6s or 4s and 5s? Whatever. I'm talking about like this. Symmetrical. Diminished. So this is minor third, minor third. And we're going to go up. Same shape. And we're going to go up in 4s. And Kirk's going to learn how to play guitar while he's doing it. Anyway, so... Right? So this... which I'm really not in shape for right now, but I'm trying, is kind of like, it's not real Sean Lane, but he does do stuff like that. So that's the whole point to it, is kind of like, my God, he's playing way off, it's amazing, and then again, it's where you land. It's not so much, what you're looking like when you're making the dive, it's how you hit the water, and make as little splash as possible. So if we do the... where you land. So go as crazy as you want, as long as as long as you land well, you'll be okay. But this 4s thing, and if you wanted to go really crazy with it and make yourself hurt, do a major third in between, and you're doing whole skill, basically whole tone. Oh, yeah. Which is definitely, in that ballpark. Again, 4s. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Each successive note. It sounds crazier than it is. Because all I'm really doing, if I could condense that down to here. That's it. That's all I'm doing. But with wide stretches. Land well. That's all I'm saying. So, now that I made a fool out of myself, not playing like Sean Lane, The whole thing with who was it? Brett Garsed. That's the guy. Australian genius, wonder. Listening to him on his instructional video gives some advice, because he said it himself, as he was influenced by guitar players who were influenced by horn players. Alan Holdsworth was pretty much a horn player in a guitar player's body. He tried to affect every note pretty much with the same inflection. So when I'm doing something like this, I'm not trying to hit any note. If I'm picking, I don't want it to pick hard enough that you're hearing the pick distinctly. So, but this, you're still hearing that. So lighter. Kind of like that. So the other part is, he didn't do any pull-offs. Back to the face. La 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 la. Sean's too good, man. The guy was just God's gift, seriously, to guitar players. He's really amazing. But doing it in Arabic type of. No, I don't know that lead. Never heard it, in fact. So the deal with what I was saying with this. Nice orange cat, by the way, Ian. I forgot to mention that in your icon there. Really cool. We have one as well. His name is Odie. It stands for Orange Drulius. So he's a good boy, and he is his mommy's kitty. On with this, though. He mentioned the Holdsworth thing. No pull-offs, which is just picking, with your finger to a lower note. Pull-off. It's just the same as going, same thing. So with this, it's all hammers. So hammer, 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 hammer. It's not easy to do, but it can lead you to interesting techniques, like when you're really trying to get from one place to another quickly, instead of maybe playing all your notes, you might skip one. Well, now that I'm thinking about it. So, stuff like that. Skipping around, going back and forth. So the hammering from nowhere thing. It's hard to do. It's a lot harder to do than the pull-offs, but it's a different effect. The effect was to try to make every single note even, so it all came out without too much, extra whack here, extra whack there. You're tampering down the dynamics. You're compressing, in effect, the dynamic range of where you're going with it. So. And the closest I can get to really faking a Holdsworth is just faking Joe Satriani, which I'm much better at doing. And that's more of a fine thing. Because I like pull-ups. So Blue Moon. Yeah, sure. No, I don't know it. But I have watched American Werewolf a lot in London, and I am familiar with the song. I just never learned it. Let's see, going on with it. Anything else that I can do that's of interest to any of y'all gentlemen out there who have been so very, very gracious and kind with your time to hang with me this long? Any questions? Like a compressor, I thought also. Yes, yeah. But you're doing it yourself. I mean, he did play with a compressor. He also played with Mesa Boogies. So, he had a decent amount of gain throughout his career. He had every kind of company he ever worked for. There was an Alan Holdsworth model Duncan, which was kind of like something I always wanted to get my hands on. I mean, a long time ago. I think even DiMarzio had an Alan Holdsworth model too. But it had, you know how we normally have the like the pan head screws here, the flat head screws. He had 2 rows of those. And that always made it really, symmetrical coils, neat. It's just a pickup. You can get his sounds without that. I wouldn't say it's harder to do. I mean, it's just a part of your sound, but it's kind of like the pre-EQ before it goes into all your other stuff. The speaker matters more than just about anything else, and also your hands. But it's just, in the end, it's just a component. I would suggest lower output pickups. That's where I'm at with that. I mean, look at me. I'm playing with my volume knob almost all the way down most of the night. So. Back to the bridge. Play it like you mean it. If you do it once, do it a few times. Try to fool the audience. Wow, what is he playing? And then there's the people who was watching you screw up in the first place that know better. So, good times. So tonight's show was brought to you by the letter F, which in my case is a E flat, because of my tuning. If it was really brought to you by the letter F, there it is. Look more into your vibrato. So I'm glad it's something you'll look into when you do it, but seriously. More important than anything else, Holdsworth had a real nice one. Not all blues players have the, what is that? The patent on good vibrato. They're just the ones that tout it as being one of the most important things. The loudest. But Malmsteen has an amazing vibrato. Another guy that does is, of course, Paul Gilbert. Who else? You know that. Yeah, really good vibrato people. Uli Roth, of course, incredible. Sure, grab another note. Marty Friedman, another one. And he's always, and of course we can bring up the ineffable Zach vibrato. So, Angus, yes, Angus. I'm with you, Stu. But Angus is more of a blues guy. I mean, you listen to Ride On, and what is that? Or whatever. However, I can't remember how that went. That whole. I don't remember it. Haven't played it in 20 years. But, you get the general idea. But now, dude, Angus for real, exactly. But the Yngwie had no soul. Yeah, I have no idea about that, especially in the early days. But yes, he was all passion. Exactly. I could totally echo that. I got a cat out there that's deciding to be vocal tonight. But this whole, how to... type of thing. But it was a little faster. So, CF. Oh. Yes, these brought to you tonight by the letter C. And, you mean for Right On. That sounds about right. With me all being a little... There we go. Probably played it that way. It's another lovely evening. Thank you for your input. In another lonely town. That he ain't too young to realize and stuff and admit it and blah blah blah. That's honestly, it's like my favorite tune from the Bon Scott days. And I would say that Angus was probably another one of those guys that for the bluesier side of things that I would try to emulate in the beginning of my whole I've got to get an accent type of thing. So, but I genuinely liked his music. So there you go. I mean, the guy was for real. Still is. So, and I feel pretty good about it too, because not many people am I taller than, and I think I'm taller than him, but not by much. So, I mean, I'm a little taller than Danny Spitz, but that's about it. So, hooray for short people. Even though, of course, apparently Randy Newman has other feelings about that. So, last week, I mentioned the whole type of thing, what is it? Well, there was a lick in the solo to that I did that I harmonized, of course, harmonized everything, which I think is kind of a nice thing to kind of formally leave off with. But it's a nice exercise in, sixes, and it's essentially starts with a this note here, and you're just and so everything you start with one shift. That's pretty much it. So, and then it goes to, what is that? B minor. But this is an E minor, so 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is, by the way, backwards of that. So you could just go. And just copy Yngwie directly, or you can reverse what he was doing. Oh, do it that way in variations. And that's fun. But, so, generally speaking, though, this... And that just makes you kind of concentrate on a couple of things. So it makes you concentrate on, in the picking department... the sixes, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so forth. It makes you really kind of concentrate. And the other thing is it gets your hand moving, and it makes you also concentrate on shifting through scale patterns, which is actually kind of easy in this case, because this is the only thing you have to memorize. So the first one is half step, whole step, half step, positionally speaking. And that's half step, whole step again. Because this, if you know these notes is this. Now you're shifting up a little, which is essentially the same as this. Even though you're not playing that down here, you kind of are. The same notes. Whole steps, whole steps, whole step, whole steps. Sounding like Swiss-Cars Squig Elves. I have an orange guitar. I rattle canned. Fernandez Retro Record. Dude! So let's talk about... I'm gonna... Yeah. You're gonna hear some sound. There's some sound. So speaking of Strats that you rattle canned... we're gonna trade spaces here. I like this guy a lot. This is one of my favorite Strats. It is a Squire I Never Knew Her Strat. Squire spelled correctly, not like the name of the person behind it, Billy or otherwise. This is a rattle can job too. And it's got a really nice Alnico 2 Guitar Madness pickup set in it. It's really, really, it's just nice. I think I'm going to turn up the gain a little bit. What do you say? Not bad. So if I was to do this, okay, this, mute a little bit, but each note you're gonna, each start of the sixes, you're gonna really emphasize the start of the six. And that. Just kind of pick it up to the G there and bend it up a little bit. E, G, and bend up a little. Slowly. To kind of make it sound, you know, I don't know how you could really put that. How would I put that? It's you're not really shooting for a specific tone. You're just kind of shooting for a yeah type of deal, you know, where you're just kind of type of hitting it, you know. So, oh, this is dusty. This has been out in the living room for a long time. I decided to bring it back in and, you know, play it a bit because it's fun to play. I love Fernandez, by the way. They all have a, what is that, a 14-inch radius? You don't really find that a whole hell of a lot. Usually they kind of skip between like 12 and 16. But they're very comfortable to play. So, you know, rock and roll, dude. Well done. And by the way, orange, ain't nothing wrong with orange, my favorite color. My Sun Valley series was a Lambo orange. I have a extremely orange Dean back yonder. Orange, good color. Favorite, in fact. So, but this, so once again with this... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1. Not even supposed to be like that. So let's go ahead and play it up to speed. Wrong. Maybe I should think about that. Then, you know, if you wanted to continue on with your sixes, this is a way of just, and it's kind of an easy one to do for sixes. This, because you could just do that all day. If your fingers want to cooperate. Do an Yngwie cheat lick and call it a day, okay? Unless there's some more questions that I might be able to field about, anything in particular, or, hey, Kirk, what's your opinion on this guy? Yeah, I'll give you all the skinny. Favorite female guitar player? Well, I'll tell you. So... So the Yngwiest lick that I could come up with when I was a kid was kind of this collection of pitches here. One, two, three, 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's sevens. I appreciate the fact you like it, dude. Yeah, this was a labor of love that I hit last September because I always wanted one kind of like this. The mint green, the cream, offset with kind of a bone white, and the scallops of a Ritchie Blackmore type of Strat. Without buying a Ritchie Blackmore Strat. This, though, sevens. I have not checked out the FU Tone guitars, but I'll call them Futone because I think futon and futone are very, very similar creatures. And why would I want to get something that immediately tells me to fuck off? Fake Yngwie lick at speed. Yeah. Whatever. Usually I'm... Not really hitting it today. And you really don't want to do like those accents. You just kind of want to... So... It's much easier to play than it sounds, believe it or not. But it's just a matter of kind of tremolo pick and make sure your left hand keeps up. Basically this backwards. Type of thing. So, do I know your bass? How would you go about painting it white? Yeah, all right. So, dude, this is something I can actually speak to. And I'm sure Ian will also be able to speak to this pretty well. So, when you're going to rattle can a guitar, if it's already got a paint job on it, all you have to really worry about, if you are worried about wanting to make it look good and new and level, there are some stuff that you got to do. Basically, you take some sandpaper, not too deep, 220, type of thing, and you're just going to, maybe even 320, and you're just basically going to scuff it up. You're giving the paint that you're going to put on there something to adhere to. If there are dents and stuff like that in there, at that point, you would apply some Bondo, mix up some Bondo, put in the filler, let it set, let it completely dry. Then you're going to take a block with some sandpaper on it and make sure it's a wood block that's pretty level or something like that. And you're going to level that out with the rest of the surface of the instrument. Anyway, at that point, you're going to spray on a layer of like Bondo, and then you're going to sand that back just a little bit, and you're going to spray on another layer of Bondo. What I'm talking about for Bondo, of course, is just like a filling primer. Or a high build primer. So if you're going to do that for a little bit, you're going to do a coat every 10 to 15 minutes, and then you're just going to let it sit and call it good. You're going to try to do that in a dust-free environment. My personal opinion with the rattle cans is get the car stuff. So like color match stuffs that you can get like at any, what do you want to call that? Whatever car parts store you've got around Napa is fine, but I'm talking like Al's Auto Supply is all I want to say, but it's not. It's what do you call it? It doesn't matter. Go to a car part store and look for their automotive paint, and yes, auto body products. Exactly. It's going to be the best stuff for you. Now, you could do this a couple of different ways. Hang the guitar, which is how I did this. Shucks? Something like that. Anyway, hang the guitar up, neck off, all the stuff out. After you do everything that you do with it, hang it up. And you're going to do a light coat. Spray the sides first. Then you're going to go back and forth, off the body, even spraying, off the body, off the body, off the body, off the body. This way, you do it with the back, same thing. The next coat, sides again, go, instead of this way, go down this way. You know, so you're kind of making a crosshatch pattern across it. Next coat, and you're just going to build up a couple of light coats until you've got full coverage. Then you're going to do one slightly heavier coat. 4 or 5 coats will do. That's it. And you're going to go about 10 minutes between each. So on top of that, then after that's set for a little bit, what I would prefer to use is something called a 2K clear, which is a polymerizing clear coat. You can use nitrocellulose if you really want the hassle, but you got to make sure that whatever you use is lacquer based. You know, whatever. Or you might have trouble. So this, though, the 2K will just fit right over this, no problem. It's going to be fine. So the 2K clear, it's not cheap. It's like $25 for a can. And it's got enough in there for 2 guitars. That's it. And it will be hard as a rock in the can in about 24 hours. So depending on the temperature. So the hotter it is, the faster it's going to kill itself. So, but once you... It's 2-stage. Once you break the little thing in the bottom, so you get a cap, you take the cap off, put it in the bottom, and you hit the can basically, or against something hard, and it's going to break on the inside. You shake it up, and so its catalyst is now released on the inside of it, and it's going to start curing inside the can. So you spray that stuff out. Same basic thing. Coat, 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 coat. Sides first, then coat, 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 and you're pretty much there. You're going to have something on it, and you're going to try to build it up pretty high. I've got about 3 or 4 coats on this. But you're going to have a little bit of something called orange peel, because it looks like, you know, the peel of an orange. You can have lime peel if it's a little less peely than that. But you're going to want to scuff that back with sandpaper. You start about 600 or 800 grit sandpaper. So this is going to be a trip to Ace. 600 to 800 grit sandpaper, and you're going to do it wet, which means you can soak the sandpaper, sure, or you can soak the sandpaper or spray the guitar body with a little bit of like Windex. That's more for cleaning before you... Oh, and I skipped that step. After you're done sanding, spray the guitar down with Windex, wipe it clean. Then spray the guitar down with some more Windex and wipe it clean again with a clean cloth each time. You're going to get off dust and stuff like that, which will cause surface imperfections and maybe adhesion problems. And if you don't do that, you're in a world of hurt. Going on with it and underlining this, at the last part, though, you start with like the 600 to 800 grit. You're sanding down, sanding down, sanding down. Don't sand the sides. I've learned this myself. Don't sand the sides. Try not to even sand over the edge. You're only sanding the flat surface and a little bit of this guy as well, but you can burn right through real easy if you're not careful. So for this, light touch. And use a sanding pad that's got a little bit of give to it when you're doing it. But you're trying to not put pressure on it and just let the sanding pad do the surface work. You know, make that thing as flat as you possibly can. And the work that you put into it will make you happy at the end result. I'm pretty happy with this. I made a couple of mistakes. It ain't that bad. But in the end, you know, for a hand rebuilt, I should say, home cooked up, you know, rattle can guitar, I think I'm pretty okay with it. So, I mean, I did the same thing with my 7-string, and I did, you know, that silver one was the first one I ever tried to paint, and it did all right. But I learned right then on that one, oh yeah, don't sand the sides. When you're done with the clear, man, you sand the sides, you're going through. There's no going around it. You're gonna go through. And you are going to rue the day you've done that, because you've now you've got a relic instantaneously. What are you going to do? Well, in my case, you spray a little in the cap, and take not a Q-tip, but like a small paintbrush, and paint over that, and it still looks like crap. But you know, it is what it is, and I'm not selling it. I'm keeping it. So it's my guitar, and it's my guitar to have crappiness on it, but it's still, you know, it plays great. What can I say? It plays pretty great too. Let's diverge and go back to the cash cow. But essentially, man, that's how you paint a guitar. And so that whole thing about whacking the strings and the vibrato stuffs. I've talked about target notes before. Target, that's an A. I'm going to bend from a G to an A. Getting the sound in your head, where it is you're going, and go there. After a while, your fingers will start to remember what it feels like to do that bend, and so you can do neat other things like, oh look, I just bent to it. I didn't even have to bend there to think, am I there yet? Am I there yet? I'm already there. I know I'm there. So you can do reverse bends. Play wrong notes, and then shift from the wrong notes to the right notes. So for that, which is damn straight it's fun. There's one too that not a lot of people talk about. You've heard the sound. All that is actually, because this whole step bend from 14 to 16 essentially, then put that finger down. Very Steve Lukather. That's fun. Let's do... So with our target note practice, I feel like I'm going to now have vibrato that goes from B to C. So you can do the, if you wanted to, or you can do the, which I think is a good idea. Now let's take some vibrato and move it from a half step to a whole step. So that's more of like whole step to quarter note at the end of that. Quarter note, not quite there. Much like with the whole Pythagorean, scale thing. What's a third sound like? Sure, not according to this. This, slightly off. Or, if you wanted to, slightly off. Why? Because this is your true third. Not quite. Not quite. And it's not a matter of intonation. It's a matter of how the frets are tempered. They're adjusted slightly, making the notes a little shorter between some of the pitches. All of the pitches. But to get them to sound mostly the same all the way across. The thing is, it's not where the true third is. Which is one of the reasons why when you hear people do like that, you're bending to the true third. It's right about there, just barely. Not somewhere between the flat 3 and the 3. That's fun. Well, yeah. So back to you, Ian. It's the first time trying to do a paint job. That's the thing, man. The first time is done. Now you've done that, and now you can either do it again, and with hindsight, or you can just kind of move forward and call it a day. Like, I don't know if I'm ever going to paint another guitar, but I've done it a few times, and I'm happy with the way this one turned out, and it's mine. So mine. But it's. It was a happier circumstance than going out and buying a Ritchie Blackmore Strat. That. It's nice to be able to do things forward and backward. If you can do it forward, why not do it backwards as well? Just getting from one place to another quickly. That's a Kiko Loureiro thing, actually. So. Back to a guitar with a little bit more guts. Yeah, turn that off. Off. There we go. In fact, I'm going to end it with this one, because it makes me happy. Hello, Rat. Just trying to remember which one this was. In the grand scheme of things. Oh, you know what? I didn't notice it before, but you can't actually see. This is a faceted neck. Stu, you know this one. You might try to repaint it again. Well, follow the steps, buddy. If you do, make sure that you try the 2K clear. It is not cheap, but it's very worth your time. That finish alone will last probably 100 years. I'm not even playing. That is a solid finish. Wait till it's done outgassing before you bring it back into the house. So if you're doing this, make sure it's a very well vented environment. Look up the safety specs. Wear a face shield. Wear a respirator. No joke. This stuff will kill you. So your lungs will say no even in the respirator. It's not happy stuffs. In fact, your skin, you're painting yourself too, because there's particulate matter in the air. If you got a Tyvek suit or have access to it, wear one. Wear gloves. I didn't. And my arms felt like I'd been painted for 2 or 3 days straight. It was pretty sick. So this guy. Oh, well, I'm happy that I could pick it up for you. So. And all you're doing there is moving your fingers around and putting them places and then putting this finger places, and it makes no difference what it is that you're doing. So. Just fool around. Have fun with it. This guy, though, yeah. So this was another home built. I can't remember the whether it was number 7 or. So I think number 8 was an actual 8-string. 7 may have been a 7-string. I want to say this was in the running though of being that. Maybe number 5. It's possible it was number 5. It's kind of chewed up. Alder body. This was back when I was using maple, so maple neck, walnut strips through it. But yeah, facets. I was fascinated. See what I did there? And yes, I'm a dad, so the jokes come naturally. Every piece of wood on this neck came from Home Depot, with the exception of the fretboard, because I still wasn't making my own fretboards at the time. I do that now, but at the time I wasn't. So this was a purchase from StewMac, and I wanted to do a flat radius. So there's no radius. It's dead flat, like the Sean Lane model of Vigier. It's got a, what is that, a brass nut that I carved myself, and the teeth of my files are still mad at me for doing that. They just hadn't worked the same afterwards. Super cheap locking tuners. They were like $30 off of, I think, Dragonfire guitars or Guitar Fetish. I think Dragonfire. Super cheap pickups, which were not the original super cheap pickups that were in it. These are 1984s from Guitar Madness. They're lovely. And, you know, simple three-way toggle. This is the most expensive item on the whole thing is the Hipshot bridge here. So, and it's the nicest, smoothest, you know, floating trim like in the whole, or non-locking trim in the whole world. .24 frets, unlimited access. You go up as far as you want. You know, you play up here. You know, hit a high A. Warehouse in Indianapolis. You do? Oh, no kidding! Right on. Well, send me wood, please. So. I'll tell you what, though, I am a little upset. When I first started building, there were cherry strips, and one of the first cherry necks I ever made was out of cherry made from Home Depot stock, and they stopped carrying cherry in both of my local Home Depots, so I was a little put off by that. Now it's only walnut and walnut, but now it's only walnut, maple, and of course you can get oak, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend that for anything more than a fretboard or maybe some neck reinforcement. That's about it. But hey man, right on. So let's see So, you can make guitars built out of, entirely Home Depot stuff. You just have to, well, maybe not the pickups, but, pretty much everything else there. Dude, I'm sure you get a discount. Have a good time. This, by the way, yes, coil tapping is standard. A little more Strat-like. These pickups are about $30 a set, by the way. And I do highly recommend them. Guitar Madness makes some amazing pickups. Have amazing pickups made for them in Korea or China. Honest to God, I'm not sure, but it's some good stuff. But this is one of my own designs. It's tiny because, I'm like 5'3". I'm a small person. I play most of the time sitting down, so I designed it to where it would be comfortable sitting down. I like to play up high without having this, the cutaway hit your wrist. Can't stand that. So this is... I'm not hitting anything here, and I'm playing practically properly. You could do, the Paul Gilberty. Maybe I can't. You can do that kind of crap all day long, never have to worry about the cutaway. Because it's cut away. It's actually away. It's not just... But, and I think it looks okay. As far as my kind of aesthetics go, I'm kind of a particular, nut. I'm a little, esoteric. So, 24. So you get your... It's all there. So, your 4 full octaves. 1, 2, 3... Whatever. That's an octave. That's an octave. That's an octave. 1. Ah, yes, because you don't count that as an octave. So that's an octave, or that's an octave. That's an octave. Yeah, they're all there. So 2 octaves per. There's a symmetry, right? So sharp is short. I am flat, so that means that needs to come back just a hair. And that is going to happen right now if I can find the screwdriver that I normally have up here on the desk. Which I can't, so I'll do that later. But still. Flat radii, take a little bit of getting used to. So, your left hand not so much as your right. And the reason why is, your hand is not radiused. It's not curved. You have segments in your hand, segments, facets, and vertices. It acts as a curve, but it is not a curve. Facet, 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 so forth. So it's easy to do, like laying it down flat, because your finger does that pretty naturally. So this, bar chords are simple. Any single note lines, those are easy. Bending, you never bend out. You can break strings before you'll actually run out of fretboard to bend over. So you'll never choke a note. It just doesn't happen. And you can have the lowest possible action without even worrying about it, because you can. Now, this is not that low, but it's pretty low. But no more than 1/8 of an inch, like up here. But so it's moderately low, but it can be lower. That's the whole point. But I like the tension that this provides where it is, so I'm good. Going on with the story, though, this the problem is. And it's not a problem so much. So I don't consider this an engineering issue to overcome. I'm going to hold it like this for a minute. And I want you to think, all right, the fretboard is completely flat. Each string from here, 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 and so forth gets successively smaller as you go. And if I want all of these to be exactly the same distance from the top of the fret to the bottom of the string, that means the strings are going to go down like this. This is an exaggerated motion, but you get you get the idea that this string is higher up, taller than each other string. So it kind of goes down like so. And because it goes down like so, and you're not picking over an arc anymore, like you are with any other guitar that has a radius on it. You're picking over an arc. So I used to say, if we're born, if we're alive, we're breathing air. If we pick up a guitar, we're playing with a radius. It's ingrained in us. So when we start playing on a guitar with a flat radius, and the strings go inwards like so, when you're picking normally and not thinking about it, you're picking on a radius. You're picking on an arc because you learned to pick on an arc. And it's muscle memory. It's just going to happen. So you'll be playing along, and then suddenly the strings kind of fall away from your hand. You're like, where the hell are they? Where'd they go? Well, you're picking over a slight slant. Yes, exactly. So, it's where the hell are they? Where did they go? And so you have to kind of learn as you're, relearn or retrain yourself that when you're going over these, to kind of push inward as you're going in, as you're going up. So up is in. And then down, of course, you're coming back out, or you're going to be really whacking the string, because it's not really so much about how hard necessarily you hit, but how deep into the string that you're picking. So a lot more force than this way. Same amount of pressure. Whoa! What's going on with cats over here, man? You all right there, Marcus? I think I'm going to be cleaning out the cat box in a minute. But it's easy to get. I wouldn't say it's easy. It's not a trial and tribulation to get. It's not a huge hurdle. In other words, this is not a steeplechase or anything like that. It's just a matter of you start to notice things like you're walking down a street. Oh, look, it's a pothole. You avoid the pothole, right? It's one of those things where you just have to pay attention for a little bit, and then it becomes like second nature. But every single time I pick up this guitar or any other guitar that I have with a flat radius, which are a few now, and I'm going back to them too because I realize that they are superior. And I mean it in every practical sense. These things are better for you than even a 20-inch radius. I like flat radius on my fretboard. I'm going to keep it going on it. But and I think that this, generally speaking, is pretty close to a perfect neck shape. If I rounded these just a little more, pretty flat, those are nice and rounded. But these facets, if I get those facets to be just a little more rounded, perfect. Perfect shape. And just about the perfect thickness, too. We're talking about maybe a total of an inch from here, and an inch maybe, and a 1/16 here. So very, very... Oh, you can't see crap. I'm sorry. You're basically looking at my headstock. I'll go like this. There we go. Bet you can see it. Hi, how you guys doing down there? So when I'm talking about that, if I rolled these over just a little bit more, I'd be happier. That'll be about the perfect neck shape, at least for my hands, and I'll bet other people would like them too. So you got cut out. Oh, hey, man, good hanging with you too. I'm really happy you showed up. Thank you so much, man. I really appreciate you being here. Very cool. And nice talking with you. I hope to talk to you again. So. Of course, I'm playing with 10s. My finger is saying, why are you doing this to me, Kirk? My picking hand likes 10s, though. In fact, that whole thing with the... No! Yes! Yes. So that's the cool thing about strings. The thicker they are, the happier my picking hand is, which is one of the reasons why I consider myself kind of a bruiser on the instrument. Definitely going to have to clean out the cat box very shortly. But the picking hand loves these big old strings, and I learned how to play fast on 11s. These 10s are pretty close to it. My left hand, being an older fellow and more of the office type of worker now, does not like those anymore. So I'm used to playing like 9.5s or 10s, and that's that. I just don't play anymore. But my bruiser picking hand has never, ever, ever been the kind to lighten up. It's relentless. It says no. This whole thing about picking with low effort. No, it doesn't want to do that. It wants to... it wants to be Paul Gilbert, which I'm not. I am not Paul, but I like playing like that. So it's a preference. I don't know. I get a lot of joy out of it. And besides about that, how hard you whack the string thing, that's you got to whack the string to get the results that you want. So if I'm happy, but it does leave me room to if I wanted to start out with a good in between, but all right, let's do something. Let's do something springy. There we go. Why not? Different sounds. This is why you have pedal boards, guys. kind of weirdly fits. Talk about before with my favorite little thing to hold on a second. Overdrive boost. Oh, that's much louder. Yeah. No, I like that. Fun. Actually, it's fun. That's cute. Well, I'm gonna go. Perhaps I'll learn the Mr. Rogers theme. But until that time, Bill, Stu, my regulars. Thanks for hanging out. Till next time, don't let your meatloaf, as a buddy of mine used to say a long time ago. Actually, that's fun. Ah. Anything you can do to have fun, right? Be well out there, everybody. See you on the flip side. Oh, fun. Come on, fingers. There we go. All right. Off Wiener Zane. Oh, ha! Still on.